world, the bicycle is making way for the bus, train, and car in China. By the year 2025, there could be 3 million buses and some 250 million cars on its roadways. These eye-opening numbers are just part of a transportation revolution that is remaking how goods and people move throughout the country. However, with this revolution come negative environmental impacts and substantial levels of carbon dioxide emissions. This show will focus on what's happening on China's roads today and what the government is doing to curb CO2 emissions and to introduce green transportation technology. I'm Charlotte Howard, and this is Rediscovering China. Over the last 3 decades, China has emerged as the world's fastest growing economy. This process started in 1978 with the economic reform and opening up policy. When the Chinese government made rapid economic growth and increased living standards 2 of their top objectives. Today, China is no longer an isolated country, but attracts attention of the international community as a global player on the world stage. Rapid economic development has also brought about inevitable environmental damages. Today, China still relies heavily on coal to fuel its growth and is now putting more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere than any other country, though its cumulative contribution is much smaller than most industrialized countries. Throughout the world, energy resources are quickly being exhausted, and the use of carbon-based fuels has caused drastic climate changes impacting plants, wildlife, and humans. The international community has become increasingly focused on addressing this global challenge. And, as seen at the 2009 Copenhagen Climate Change Summit, many countries have their eyes on China to be a leader. The Chinese government takes climate change seriously and has committed to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide emissions by 40% by the year 2020 compared to the levels in 2005. Over the last 30 years, China's citizens have witnessed an unprecedented economic transformation. Completion of new infrastructure, including highways and expressways, have been essential to the country's economic growth, both as a system to move goods, but also to keep up with the increased number of privately owned vehicles hitting China's roads every day. As Chinese people have found new economic opportunities within their country, they have also discovered a newfound consumerism. Factories that once only manufactured goods for export are suddenly finding a growing domestic market. At the end of last year, China overtook the United States as the largest car market in the world, producing over 13 million automobiles. In Beijing alone, since last April, the number of new cars has been growing at over 10,000 or more per week. And the city claims there are 4.3 million cars with almost 6 million drivers.
新中国成立之初啊，汽车是作为一种生产工具在发展。改革开放以来呢，随着人民生活水平的提高，轿车逐步进入家庭。那么近年来呢，中国的汽车产业呢得到了迅速的发展。去年我国的汽车产销量呢都达到了世界第1的水平。那么随着汽车产量和保有量的迅速增加，汽车行业面临的节能减排的形势呢也一曲也重。
Nearly 20 million people in China own a vehicle, and the number is quickly rising. In order to lower CO2 emissions, the government has imposed strict fuel efficiency standards and also is offering subsidies to individuals who purchase low-emission vehicles. As you can see today at Beijing's auto show, consumers are able to come and check out the latest in low-emission vehicle technology. To avoid environmental damages in the 1980s, China, like most countries, switched from carburetor cars to EFI, or electronic fuel injection systems. Fuel injection is a system for mixing fuel with air in an internal combustion engine. Although China may be behind the United States, Japan, and other developed countries in terms of manufacturing gas-powered vehicles, it hopes that by skipping to the current technology, it can become a leader in the next.
传统的汽车技术呢，一开始呢用的都是内燃机，就烧的都是汽油和柴油。那么一开始在汽油机和柴油机上呢装的都是化油器。那么随着汽车电子技术的发展，那么化油器呢逐步的被汽车电控系统所代替。那么内燃机的电控技术，它的主要的目标呢，当初主要是解决排放问题。
你想买小排量车吗？
我觉得可以啊。
为什么？
因为小排量车那个，它一个是环保，还有一个是，现在比较前卫吧。
小排量车的话，那个油耗低一点，然后的话，那个对污染小一点，对环境环保一点。
People in China are becoming more aware of the environment and the impact their country's fast economic growth has had on their surroundings. As a result, many Chinese are starting to consider low-emission vehicles.
说从去年开始，受国家这个政策的影响，那么销售非常的好。那么去年呢，1.6以下的这个小排量车，那么占到中国的销售70%的一个市场。那么北京的市场呢，相对呢是应该说它的这个消费比较成熟，所以它的这个市场呢，大概从我们亚市来看，大概占到50%左右。不管是这种合资品牌，还是一些这个。就是一些高端品牌吧，现在实际上也在推出这种经济型车。那么多消费者买这小轮车呢，主要是从这个经济性来考虑。那么现在呢，就是经济环保这块，那么受到很多消费者的欢迎。
The commercial transport industry is also a major player in the energy consumption chain. By the end of 2008, the number of commercial vehicles on the roads across China reached well over 9 million. For freight vehicles in China, the average oil consumption is more than double that in some foreign countries. Processed oil used by the industry accounts for approximately 30% of the oil consumed annually in China. To battle these statistics and to reduce energy consumption by 12% for commercial freight vehicles, China's Ministry of Transport enacted the regulation of inspection and supervision on fuel consumption of road transport vehicles. This measure allows the ministry to monitor both the manufacturing of commercial vehicles and also test their fuel consumption levels before they are permitted to enter the market. The Chinese government has made several ambitious commitments to reduce the country's energy use over the next 5 to 10 years. Measures are being enacted to guide commercial transport enterprises to purchase and operate standardized vehicles that are both more energy efficient and environmentally friendly. China aims to phase out the gas-guzzling vehicles that line its highways today and hopefully popularize vehicles with advanced oil-saving technology for tomorrow. In order to reach its 2020 goals in lowering carbon dioxide emissions, the Chinese government is also offering subsidies to companies who are manufacturing alternative energy vehicles, such as electric or hybrid cars. Both domestic and foreign firms are exhibiting the most latest technology in alternative energy vehicles at today's auto show. The 2010 Beijing Auto Show featured new energy vehicles from some of the world's top international companies. It was a platform for consumers to preview the cars of tomorrow and also for companies to share their most recent technological breakthroughs in new energy automobiles. There are 9 types of new energy vehicles recognized throughout the world. The 3 most important are hybrid, pure electric, and fuel cell vehicles. Within China, many experts believe that the future of alternative energy transportation lies in pure electric vehicles. Geely Automobile, China's largest private automobile manufacturer, has started its production of pure electric private cars for the Chinese market.
Explain to me a little bit how this works.
Okay, this plug-in car is kind of plug-in hybrid car. With this car, we have 1.0 liter 3 cylinders engine and another 30 kilowatt electric motor. With both motors, with one engine and one electric motor, we drive this car. This car we can the cruise range is about 1,060 kilometers because the battery will take 60 kilometers cruise range, and for the motor it can take 1,000 kilometers cruise range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we go inside and take a look?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great.
Please.
Here. Now, is this designed exactly like an ordinary diesel car, or is there anything different on the interior?
Yeah, it's quite similar with a normal gasoline vehicle, but you can see this shift lever is a little bit different because it has only 3 positions: D position, N position, and R position. So it's quite similar with a normal automatic transmission, but there's no parking position. Yeah.
In 2009, Beijing put its first fleet of hybrid public buses into service, and today many are used citywide. This is just one example of how new energy vehicles are moving out of the factories and onto the streets of China's major cities. We traveled a few hours outside of Shanghai to China's Zhejiang province to get a closer look at Youngman Automobile, where they are conducting new energy research for larger vehicles.
新能源这个处置，我们事实上，我们5年之前啊，我们就是扎修在准备这个新能源。那么新能源呢，开始的话呢，我们在北京爱丽路在奥运会就跑奥运村的，叫电混合，叫电跟电混合。那么这个车子我们已经跑了3、4年了，跑得也非常好。那么这个电混合跑得比较好以后的话呢，我们觉得类似的讲呢，下一步类似的讲呢，怎样这个往这个电动汽车啊、混合动力啊，往这个方向给发展。那么在这个方向发展呢，我们现在所做的工作已经有5年时间了。
Youngman Automobile has become both a base for research and development, as well as the manufacturing of coaches, heavy-duty trucks, and public buses. The group has about 4,000 employees, with over 600 R&D personnel and over 60 foreign experts. The company utilizes business partnerships with foreign firms, as well as the hiring of foreign engineers, to collaborate and build not only top-quality vehicles, but also to make strides in alternative energy technology. They are currently developing ways to reduce exhaust levels and total energy consumption by reducing the weight, as well as recycling and reusing energy throughout their vehicles, while also focusing on improving the manufacturing of electric motors. Most of their passenger cars are exported. However, the company's public passenger buses are currently used throughout China's major cities.
Most of these are in China. In fact, as recent as 2008, 97% of the rare earth production came out of China. Within China, 60% of that is in Inner Mongolia, 35% would then be in Sichuan province and Jiangxi province. There are also deposits in the United States and Australia, Canada as well, and a few other places. But right now, they're not able to run at full capacity, so all of these are coming out of China. So China has basically a de facto monopoly on the production of rare earth elements.
For many, the hybrid vehicle battery represents a bright future. However, many skeptics are still concerned about the weight, reliability, longevity, and cost of the batteries. People are wondering if China has the capabilities and technical know-how to develop a hybrid vehicle that's worth buying.
不是纯粹从这个电池来研究，但电池也是放在首位的，也是放在重点的。这电池控制系统、电机从3个方面来研究。这电机效率高了，控制系统这个水平高了，那么对电池的寿命就可以提高了。那么电池这个寿命一提高以后它的使用成本等于是下降了，使用成本下降。那么同时来说的话呢，加大这个系统的制造成本要下降。那么制造成本下降以后寿命提高以后，使用成本下降以后，它的使用量就增大。
请给我介绍一下这个纯电动车。
OK， 我们这辆纯电动车是我们2010年新近开发的一辆新车。这辆车的话，我们外观采用方基调小圆角的形式进行设计。然后这辆车我们整个造型的话是去年在给北京公交公司供了100辆车。您这边我们这辆纯电动车的话，采用的是磷酸铁锂电池来进行供电。磷酸铁锂电池它这种电池它具有能量比密度高、安全性能好的特点。开发纯电动车的前期知道，电池是我们整个车的一个非常关键的零件。以前呢，我们电池担心它的密度不高，相同重量的电池它携带的能量很少。另外一方面是它的安全性能不好，可能会引发爆炸。但是现在我们采用这种磷酸铁锂电池的话，是目前国际上最先进的一种电池，它的能量比密度可以达到每公斤100瓦以上。另外一方面，它的低温性能也有很好的低温性能，在低温下可以有很好的放电特性。这个车我们进行了轻量化设计，整个车身呢我们采用有旋缘技术进行了结构减重，在原来的基础上减轻了10%以上的重量。这样的话，我们相同的电量可以蓄时更长的里程。轻量化技术是我们目前非常关注的一个方面。我们主要是采用数字化的仪表盘，整个造型具有结构优美、大方的特点。然后我们的这一个在这个仪表盘里面，我们可以很清楚的看到每一个电池它的电流、电压的变化，以及每公里的蓄时里程的变化。
Although many questions remain in the field of alternative energy research, we decide to head back to Beijing to check out the city's public bus system. Beijing has a population of over 22 million people, making rush hour a battle. Recently, the government has been developing an extensive public transportation system, adding new subway lines and highways. However, many find that buses are still the most convenient way to get around.
China's rapid transit bus system is another effective way to save energy and to cut down on fuel emissions. In 2008, Beijing became home to China's first rapid transit bus system, and today more than 100,000 people use it each day.
每天发车平均在1500次左右，日运送客流14万人左右，到了周末已经突破了15万5千人次，在节日期间已经突破了20万人次。以4月份为例，我们车队总共输送乘客46万9700人次，消耗柴油35万公升，人均耗能水平0.747。这个数字要远远低于普通公交人均耗能水平。
Beijing is approximately 17,000 square kilometers, meaning that many people are faced with long commutes from the city's outskirts into the city center for work. Rapid transit buses were first introduced to Beijing in 2008, and the government has built designated lanes to increase the speed and efficiency along the long-distance bus routes.
比私家车要节省时间，完了每天在站台上等车的时候，也就有1分钟至2分钟的时间就可以坐上车了，完了没有堵车的现象，完了非常的便宜，完了政府这个投资这力度挺大的，打折，每天刷卡打折有4毛钱，每天我坐公交车的话，一天也就花上几元钱就可以往返了，比那个咱们开私家车呢要节能，要环保，还要省钱，非常的实惠。我家里有私家车，一般不开，都是平常节假日以后出去玩才开。坐这一般上下班坐这车。
Zipping through the congestion behind me are the vanguard of another transportation revolution. Vehicles that use no gas, emit no exhaust, and are so quiet that they can startle the unwary pedestrian. In China, electric bicycles are leaving cars in the dust. And while China may have 25 million cars on its roads, it has 4 times as many e-bikes.
The electric bike boom owes much to Chinese policy. The government made developing e-bikes an official technology goal in 1991. E-bikes that are basically pedal-powered machines with an electric boost are common in cities like Beijing and Shanghai. But e-scooters with heavier motors and top speeds of around 30 miles per hour, fast enough to rival mopeds, are growing in popularity.
这款车是我们最近新上市的。这款车它好的地方就是说它电池重量比较轻一些。 可以使用寿命会长一些，像这种电池，它的重量只有4公斤，您可以掂一下，它重量非常轻，就是说使用寿命还会比普通电池长一些。你看一下这个普通电池，它普通电池是这种的，这种比较重一点的，它的重量很沉，而且寿命还短一些。 你可以感觉一下这两个重量。
Most e-bikes sell for about 2,000 renminbi, or $290 US. Last year, Chinese bought about 90% of the 23 million e-bikes sold worldwide. On the street, most major Chinese cities have extensive bicycle lanes, which means riders can avoid the worst rush hour congestion.
The velocity of change in China can be perhaps best seen on its expressways, where there is no doubt a transportation revolution underway, one that increases urban pollution and substantially damages the environment. However, China is making large strides in green transportation, and over the next few years it will be important to monitor its impact. However, only time will tell if the country is able to build a sustainable transport system or if China is simply growing too fast for alternative energy technology to keep up. I'm Charlotte Howard, and thanks for watching this episode of Rediscovering China. See you next time.